Okay, so I'm fairly new to 3D printing. I printed maybe 10 different models. I first started with an older 12-year-old D-Bot Moose, had no issue but is slow as hell. Recently bought a King Rune which had a manual bed leveling, but I wanted an auto bed leveling. So when they had these on sale, I decided I'd buy one because everybody talks so good about the Bamboo. I mean, I can't even. So anyway, I got it and I printed this benchy, and it went through the calibration okay. Everything was fine. And as a note, they don't mention, say, under. If you look at that, there's actually, 4 screws on top. Their instructions are not really clear because, if you're older like me, sometimes you may not see those little screws in there. So on the instructions, they should be more clear than what they are. And also, some people online are saying that you tighten these up because the instructions say they're tight, but some people want them backed off a quarter turn. Some people half turn. Some people leave this one tight, and they'll turn this one off a quarter turn and left, so it's all over the place. It's just very poor documentation on this. Anyway, I basically printed the benchy. The benchy turned out okay. It was really fast. I was really impressed with that, and the quality obviously was working good. Okay. So then I went on to their little service that they have that they give you for so many days, and I decided to print this Starlink mount, which I need. And so as you can see, it started off really good. It's nice and smooth. Nothing wrong with that at all. And then all of a sudden it started to have some issues further on. Okay? And then the more it went, the more issues it started to have. Now, some people said, well, there was no drag. There was nothing here restricting the filament in any way. There was nothing affecting it. There was nothing, okay, and it just started banding like that. And then, as you can see, it started getting worse and worse. And then eventually, it knocked down on it. So it did not move up enough. That's why I started to suspect that it was the Z-axis, because if the filament was dragging, yes, that could be one issue, but everything's clear. I got the measures as they talk about in the instructions here. It wasn't here, it was over in another spot, which is taller than here, so there's no chance of it hitting anyway. The only way this would ever hit is if I was printing the full 180 millimeter. And anyway, this was a brand new roll. This was sealed. There's literally came right out of the vacuum pack before I put it on here, before I went to print this. Okay, so I literally opened a brand new roll, vacuum pack. This was with a dry. It had a large dry pack inside of it to keep all the moisture out. It was all vacuum sealed. I cut it open, put brand new filament on this, and then I went to print this here. I had used some black that I had sitting around for this here. So then I decided I wanted the Starlink mount. I put a brand new thing of white, and like I say, right now it started out perfect. See, and then it started to band. And then when when I hit down here, you can feel there's a ridge here. You can't feel it, but there's a ridge here. And so when it hit down on this level, it knocked the model and took it off the bed. So I said, oh, that's weird. And then I got notice in the banding. So it wouldn't calibrate again. It wouldn't do a calibration, and it kept on giving a Z-axis error. So I decided, well, I'll home and I'll try to print regardless. Okay, so I decided to do this one here as a test. And as you can see, it started out rough. It was, just make sure that's the bottom. It started out quite rough there, but it got it down. And then all of a sudden it straightened up for a while. And this here is pretty similar to what I just showed you as the beginning stages of the other one. Then it banded again for no reason. And then it gave another good section. And then it really started to flip out up in here. And that's the only thing I can think of is that it's the Z-axis. But then I told support, and they said, oh, well, we'll send you out a film. Well, I appreciate the offer, but this is a brand new freaking printer. The retail on this thing's almost $500. It's not a $100 Kijiji King Rune is what I had before this. I got to go down to storage today, and I got to get my King Rune out so I can print my stuff, because basically this here failed me right off the bat. And I just expect more from this printer. I'll be honest with you, because people talk so highly about it. And then when I tell them, they said, well, we'll send you a new filament head, a new extruder. And I'm thinking, like, why is that the extruder issue? Because, I mean, obviously, it's failing somehow on the Z-axis. I don't know. You wait for 3 days for support. You're talking through a chat. You're not getting a phone call. No one tries to, they didn't say, hey, why don't we give you a phone call and we'll talk about this, we finally got your support request. Give us your phone number. We'll call you. I mean, I got to tell you, some of the best support right now in the world is Amazon. They will call you right back immediately. But anyway, I'm just saying, it's been 3 or 4 days since I got this, and it's been a disappointment for me so far.